So it's adding about 80 cents to $1 worth of ETH every day.
Interesting. I mean, when I think about strategy, it is really it's the whale in the Bitcoin market just because they have been buying up so much Bitcoin. So if Bitmine is taking a similar approach to Ethereum, where do you see prices for Ether going?
Well, I looked at some research from Sean Farrell, who's our head of digital asset strategy, and he put out a presentation about Ethereum today. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021, and that gets you, close to 16,000. So it's adding about 80 cents.
All right, that's the question now we're going to answer today. Do I think Ethereum can go to $16,000 as Tom Lee just said it? In the chat, real quick, answer that question for you. Do you think Ethereum is going to 16,000? Here's basically what this expert Tom Lee is predicting, because if ETH returns to the ratio, we're going to look at that ETH BTC chart of 0.14, essentially ETH would be at $16,000. Historical 2021 bull market peak ratio was a 0.14. Indicates Ethereum's relative strength against Bitcoin, signaling potential proportional gains. Now we know that Ethereum, the demand is there. The ETF demand is there. We got the 401k about to be converted into crypto here soon, people's 401ks. And just take a look at this real quick. Rising institutional demand is also contributing to the potential Ethereum price appreciation. Strategies such as Bitmine's accumulation approach highlight the growing interest from institutional investors, which may support momentum in Ethereum's price. We've also seen new companies start to put Ethereum, yes, Ethereum, on their balance sheets, very similar like what Michael Saylor is doing. So let's jump over here to this Ethereum BTC chart. If you have been following the channel, hopefully you are, hit that subscribe button. This is a chart we've covered for quite some time, and we've called the bottom here recently at 0.018. What Tom Lee is saying is that we could see this back at 0.14, one Ethereum compared or evaluated to BTC. Now, I don't think we're going to see that level on this run, to be honest with you. If we did, I won't be mad. But I think we are going to see this level get hit for sure. Right now, we came down into this level. We traded into this candle, and there's a ton of liquidity on this chart. So here's how it works. When this chart, okay, ETH BTC, when this chart is going up, the dominance of Ethereum is rising and the dominance of Bitcoin is decreasing. When this chart is going down like it did here, okay, ETH dominance down, Bitcoin dominance up. Now, we love to see when this chart is going up, okay? Because that means that Bitcoin's dominance is decreasing, which it currently is right now. And I think it still has a long way to go down, which is a very good sign for Ethereum. Now, 16,000, is that going to happen? That's what Tom Lee is stating. Let's take a look at some of the facts here. Okay, Ethereum has a spot ETF. The entire market cap for the Ethereum spot ETF is at 23 billion, which is nothing compared to BTC. Bitcoin's over 100 billion, a 4 or 5 multiplier as we're recording this today on August 15th. Now, money is choosing to now start to flow into Ethereum. Major companies are choosing to buy Ethereum. And I believe this was the most important event, one of the most important events that happened on Ethereum's blockchain, okay? And it was called EIP 1559. Let me know in the chat if you were in crypto August 5th, 2021, and that upgrade to the network, okay, introduced the new, basically the new system where users pay, okay, a fee, right, gas fees. And every time some Ethereum, okay, every time some Ethereum is sent, or you mint an NFT, or you move money, a little bit of Ethereum is burned on the network, okay? It allowed block sizes to become more flexible during high activity, right? The issue with a lot of blockchains is, security, scalability. It's so hard to have all of them. This dilemma that we call trifecta dilemma in crypto. And it looks like that was huge. Okay, that was also a really, really important event that led to the merge, right? Where Ethereum went from proof of work, which essentially is like the miners and the machines and the energy issue, which is not true, to proof of stake, where somebody could become a validator with some Ethereum, 32 Ethereum, and help approve transactions, help keep the network safe. Ethereum has more validators than any other blockchain except for BTC, but BTC is built or still a proof of work. Okay, now here's some of the overview of Ethereum real-time data right here. Okay, the total decentralized exchange volume, right? It's it's not where it was in 2021, but it's headed there. Okay, projects like Uniswap have a lot to do with that. You can see here, Ethereum transaction activity, it's definitely, it's peaking right now. Okay, Ethereum today is at $4,400. If you follow me on Instagram, okay, we had caught the level down here at $1,400, $1,800 most recently. I had been in Ethereum since 2017, 2018 over here. And then, we were accumulating during COVID. And most recently, we took our final position under $1,800. And now we're sitting at this all-time high, where now price is rejecting a little bit of this candle, and we could see something like that happen really at any moment. But on-chain, okay, let's go back to this. Okay, stablecoin supply on USDC and USDT, it's growing, everybody. Majority of the stablecoin money is built on the Ethereum network, okay? The ETH supplied stake, okay? Are people staking the asset? And the answer is yes. And I'll talk about staking in just a moment. Here, we can go to Ultrasound Money, and this is a really cool website. Okay, you can come up here to the top and you can see how much ETH is being burned, right, since that merge event that happened in 2022, right? The burn 2021, merge 2022. Okay, you can see here, supply change, current supply. Let's scroll down here. I want to show you something real quick. Let's see, how many Ethereum have been burned? 4.6 million Ethereum have been burned since the burn event that happened in August of 2021. So imagine an extra 5 million Ethereum in supply. What would that do to the price? And the thing is that the more demand there is for ETH and the blockchain, which is definitely a chosen child of the governments and the institutions, the more that Ethereum is going to be burned on the network. So just kind of simple supply and demand. And this projection is showing that eventually, going into really the next decade, Ethereum will start to really be burned. And every 10 years, there's going to be 1 million less Ethereum, which could really be very interesting for the network. You can see here right now, 2.18 Ethereum are being burned a minute. Okay, and you can see here, ETH transfers, NFTs are burning Ethereum, Uniswap, version 2, version 1, version 3, MetaMask, Circle. It's so funny that NFTs are still up here right now. 230,000 Ethereum have been burned from NFTs, and that was like a 2-year rally. We can go over here to DeFi Llama. We can see all of the money in DeFi, and then we can see just Ethereum. DeFi right now is at 151 billion, and Ethereum is the leader of the pack, of course, $91 billion. So going back to what Tom said, 16,000, I think it gets hit. But it might not get hit on this run. And that's what you got to be okay with, and understand that Bitcoin took time. I think ETH is still not in its fully operational form, but look at the metrics. $138 billion in stablecoin money. The network is earning about $1.56 million a day, which is why all these companies like Circle and Stripe. They recently just announced they want to build their own blockchains because there's money on the blockchain. Chain revenue, okay, $4 million. Chain fees, $1.5 million. Oh, this is total fees paid by users when using the chain. Chain revenue, $500,000. App revenue, okay, perps volume, 2.6 billion. What happens when these banks start tapping into the blockchain? Okay, total raised, bridged TVL, 500 billion. Okay, decentralized exchange volume running. These are the top DeFi projects based on total value locked. Lido, Aave, EigenLayer, Scam staked ETH, Binance staked ETH, and then all of these. I mean, there's literally right now over 30 different projects that have over $1 billion in TVL. And we'll talk about that in a future video. And you can see some of the revenue that those projects are earning. Now, let's talk about the first one. One of the things that Ethereum has that Bitcoin does not have is the ability to earn dividend, the ability to get paid by staking, right? Giving custody of your Ethereum through like Lido, for example, and earning 2.8%. Now, if you're thinking, well, Mike, I only have $100, then yeah, 2%, you know, you can't even go to McDonald's this year. But if you have 100 billion or a couple trillion and you start helping the network and you start staking, I mean, that's free money. So I believe we're going to slowly see that these spot Ethereum ETFs are able to provide a dividend to the investors. And that's going to be very attractive. Solana as well down the road, and we'll talk about that in a future video. Okay? Last but not least, if you're getting any value, I want you to share this video with a friend that has the question, can ETH get to 16,000? 100%. Will it do it in this run? I'll show you my projection in just a moment. Go to CoinGecko, go to cryptocurrencies, go to categories, go to DeFi. These are the biggest DeFi projects, right? Built on ETH, has its own network, but uses ETH. Built on ETH, built on ETH, built on ETH, I think. I don't know that one. Built on ETH, built on ETH, built on ETH, right? All the big DeFi projects and going into Jupiter are all built on Ethereum. That's going to help the network, everybody, right? Chainlink is going to help the network. Uniswap, it's the biggest decentralized exchange. What network is it built on? You just look right there. It says contract. That's an Ethereum logo. So, Tom, I think it could hit 16,000. I want to know in the chat what you guys think, where it's going. One of my short-term projections is about $7,000 for Ethereum. And my extreme bullish target in the next 10 years is at $33,000 for one coin. In the comments below, I want to know your projection, your prediction for Ethereum. Where's it going in the next 5 years, and where's it going in the next decade?